To begin our meeting of the City Council for August 16th, 2021, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight we have another Kingswood Academy student who will be our mayor for a day. This is our second of our three young men who will be doing this. And tonight, Clerk Ragona will be swearing in Samuel Bergman. Samuel?
Please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Samuel Bergman,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will
that I will
support the
support the
Constitution of the United States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the
Constitution of the
State of Illinois,
State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of mayor for the day according to the best of my ability. Congratulations.
Ask her to take the roll.
Please call the roll.
Oh, man.
Belzak,
Here.
Kenny,
Here.
Shower,
Here.
Sullivan,
Here.
Vaughn,
Here.
5 present and 2 absent.
Have a quorum. Does anyone in the audience have anything they would like to share with the council that is either on the agenda or not?
We have a gentleman coming forward.
I can take this off, right? I'm Jim Bulla, 3109 Drover Lane. Before starting, I want to mention that I have to leave as soon as this is over, so don't think I'm walking out on you. I'll give Brian my contact information if anybody is interested and needs to contact me. Let me start out by saying I have used the CART program. I'm using it now, and I've used it for as long as I can remember. When I spoke here about 5 years ago, I was fairly confident that the council was going to vote to get rid of the sticker program and just go with the CART program, but we lost 4-3. So here we are again. I'm disappointed with the latest RFP that Brian's put together, in the sense that, again, it's presenting this option or giving the option for the sticker program, which I'm obviously very much against. I think we need to understand that those in favor of the sticker program are going to complain, regardless if the new sticker price is high or low. They're going to have the same complaints. They're going to give you, a handful of people will give each one of you a call. Tonight, I only want to touch on previously on some of the stated reasons why I think you should select the CART program. The majority of the litter on streets on garbage day comes from people using open recycling bins or trash cans where they're piling up the garbage. There are people in my neighborhood that use a can, have 3-4 bags on top of it. It's blowing all over the street. I take walks somewhere virtually every day in my neighborhood or in parks or in forest preserves. Saw him there the other day. I see garbage that has been dumped. I also see what goes on at gas stations and outside our community businesses. Before retiring, I saw firsthand how people brought garbage to work. The only change I've seen in the last few years is the bags are getting smaller, and that's primarily at the gas stations. They've come up with the new lids that are much smaller, so people can't bring in full bags. But I see it at the Darien Park District over in, I'm in Farmingdale Village. I see the garbage there all the time. I see people routinely walk there in the morning, dumping off their garbage. I could go on, but these arguments didn't win it last time, so I want to concentrate really on what the mayor has described as fairness. As background, Waste Management has provided the data from previous haulers showing that while there has been an uptick in the number of homeowners using the carts, there has also been a constant decline in the number of stickers. What I really found most unusual about that sticker count that they gave is in 2020, it also went down in 2020. And when you look at most of the people, so many more people working from homes all day long, yet there's less stickers being used. How does anybody explain that? I mean, how does that possibly happen? That with what has been going on with COVID for the last year and a half, stickers continue to decline. And since I also want to mention that we have the same stickers for garbage as we have for yard waste, so you can't just look at that sticker count and think it's for trash. It's a combination of trash and yard waste. And what I have noticed in my subdivision anyway, and I would say you should go out on your garbage day and look in the neighborhood and see what's going on. But what I've seen is that the number in this 5-6 month period of summer months, there are as many stickers being used for yard waste as there are people that actually have garbage out with stickers. So let's talk about fairness. The city of Darien, like many suburbs, decided long ago not to include trash or garbage pickup in the real estate tax bill, and so the burden of the payment of collection has been transferred to the haulers, and obviously those costs are passed on to the consumer. Let's talk about human nature. Given the opportunity, would homeowners with children want to pay for school taxes if they don't have kids in school? I don't know. They wouldn't want to do it. People that don't use the Darien Park District, would you pay taxes if you had your opportunity not to pay taxes for the Darien Park District and you don't have kids, you don't use the Darien Park District, you wouldn't use it. You'd scratch it off the list. I obviously could go on for there's 20 items on the tax bill that you would just avoid. So why is trash collection any different? Cart program users and some legit sticker users are paying the freight for all the homeowners. When I walk the neighborhood, I see as many homeowners, as I mentioned, with recycling out, but no garbage. Somehow the argument that's always brought up is we save our garbage. These same people that save their garbage but have to get their recycling out every week. How do you explain that? They got to get that recycling out, but not the garbage. I won't take up too much more of your time. Let me finish up here. Again, in my estimate, you guys can make your own estimate by going out and looking. I'd say 25% of the homeowners pay little or nothing for this service. Is that fair? At the same time, I don't mean to imply all sticker users are somehow cheating the system, and there are legitimate concerns. But in the cart program RFP that Brian has put together, he's addressed some of those concerns. People are complaining about I can't handle these big garbage cans. He's got a variety of garbage cans sizes in that RFP. Seniors will come up and tell you that they can't afford it. Somehow we got $400,000 homes, but they can't afford garbage. He's got a discount in there for seniors. So in my preference would be don't even include the sticker option in that RFP, because you're going to hear the same arguments all the time. You need to make your own decision. That's all I've got.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Brian, did you want to say something? I thought you had.
No, I was just waving to Jim. We've talked a few times. I was just waving
All right.
goodbye. I know he's running out.
Okay.
Can I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of August 2nd, 2021 minutes?
Oh, Sam. Okay.
Alderman Kenny.
Seconded by Alderman Shower. Seconded by Alderman Shower. That's what you said. You might want to ask if there's any questions.
Do any of the aldermen have any questions?
Can I have the roll?
Can I have the roll?
Kenny,
Aye.
Shower,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Belzak,
Abstain.
Vaughn.
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 abstention, and 2 absent.
The minutes have been approved. Do any of the aldermen have any communications for the council?
Alderman Shower.
Alderman Shower.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Had a couple communications this week from Anna and Chuck Harry at 1309 Greenbrier and Lisa Cairo at 7921 Pine Court. Real briefly, they were basically the noise factor at the Q Bar has been an issue, and as we had a discussion about it, basically it's the bass that comes on through that reverberates through the house. And even tonight they're hearing that the music's a little bit loud. I got a text message while I was sitting here. But they're also, so they're basically saying they don't really want to have the outside music, which I can understand. When I explained to them how the Mayor Marquez has talked with Mr. Taft over at Q Bar and saying that, and explained to him that the noise is going to be cut out come September, and basically the outside concerts are coming down. They were very excited about that. That made them feel a lot better, as we like to say. Most importantly, they also, I mentioned about the fact that the discussion's going on and we have no idea what's going to happen, but Q Bar is talking about having, building an inside, arena or inside place that's going to be sitting in the parking lot. Again, there's no details to it. Again, Mayor Marquez mentioned at the last meeting, and they're all in favor of that. They, have no issues with it if it's going to be enclosed. So music's a little loud. Yes, they don't want to see it. Glad that it's going to be ending come September, basically. The one thing I do have to mention is that Anna and Chuck Harry did go on to say that the greatest thing about the city of Darien is that we have very, very responsible people, from the elected officials all the way down to the people that work at the city level, and that if they ever had any questions in the last, how many years they've been living there, it's always been taken care of. And they said for the amount of money that they pay for taxes for the city of Darien, you don't get any better services than at the city of Darien. And they've compared a couple other cities, and so they just wanted to mention that. And so thank you to everybody that works for the city from them.
Anyone else? Alderman Kenny.
Alderman Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did receive a communication from Michael Scheck. It's in the unincorporated portion of Downers Grove. Want to know if Darien can somehow help with water fees. The trees in their area, due to the drought, are dying because of water. And that's coupled with the fact that we just had tornadoes going through and took out a good portion of their trees already. So I have talked to Mayor Marquez here this evening, just mentioned it to him. So that's all I have for communications tonight.
Alderman Vaughn.
Alderman Vaughn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have one communication from XJ Herrera from 7005 Clarendon Hills Road. On August 10th, around 9:30 p.m., their dog was ran over by a car speeding past her house, and it was caught on the Ring camera. So I was woken up about 9:30 p.m. when this happened, and so I reached out to her. But I just wanted to make mention of that Clarendon Hills Road is still problematic, and I think we could continue to look at Clarendon Hills Road to make it safer for families that live on that road. So that's all I have. So yeah.
Alderman Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. I did get a communication from Drew Kelly, a resident of my ward, expressing some frustration with customer service issues with advanced disposal. And I know he did get some assistance from city staff in getting a hold of advanced disposal. I think there might also have been a mix-up with the phone number. But city staff did assist him in getting some resolution with one of his bins had been taken because he had two. But I think that's been resolved. And, I think he just wanted to let us know, that customer service should be a factor as we assess the RFP process.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to the mayor's report. We have a proclamation tonight, National Suicide Prevention and Action Month. Whereas September is known globally as Suicide Prevention Month, the National Suicide Prevention and Action Month proclamation was created to raise the visibility of the mental health resources and suicide prevention services available in our community. The goal is to start the conversation about mental health and the impact of suicide to help destigmatize the conversation and help connect people with the appropriate support services. And whereas, according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide is the 10th leading cause of death among adults and the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34 in the United States. And whereas more than 48,000 people died by suicide across the United States in 2018, with an average 132 suicides completed daily, and whereas each and every suicide directly impacts a minimum of 100 additional people, including family, friends, co-workers, neighbors, and community members, and whereas the City of Darien publicly places its full support behind those who work in the fields of mental health, education, and law enforcement, and whereas global organizations like Hope for the Day and our local mental health partner, LifeStance Health, serve on the front lines of a war that many still refuse to discuss, as stigma regarding suicide and mental health issues is far too prevalent. And now, therefore, I, Joseph A. Marquez, Mayor of the City of Darien, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2021 as National Suicide Prevention and Action Month in the City of Darien. And I encourage all residents to take the time to understand the importance of mental health education and recognize that taking care of ourselves and others includes taking care of mental health. And that's signed the 16th day of August, 2021. Also on our mayor's report tonight, we have a police pension actuarial report, and I'm going to have our treasurer, Mike Corrin, introduce our actuary.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening I've got the honor of presenting Jason Franken from Foster & Foster, who's been doing the police actuarial report for about the last 5 or 6 years, I believe. It's a very important report because this report is used to determine our annual contribution requirement for our police pension fund. I won't take any of the wind out of Mr. Franken's sails. I'll let him present the report. It's very involved, as you can see. He'll present some of the highlights. I met with Mary Sullivan to go over it in a lot of individual detail. Again, I offer you the same thing. If after hearing his report, if you have questions that come to mind after, feel free to ask Mr. Franken tonight. But if you have any others, I'm happy to meet with any of you one-on-one also. So at this point, I'd like to introduce Mr. Franken.
Thank you. As Mike said, my name is Jason Franken, and I'm an actuary with Foster & Foster, and I'm here tonight to discuss the May 1st, 2021 Actuarial Evaluation. If you have a copy of the report in front of you, I'm going to be starting on page 5, or just a summary of the results. The contribution requirement for the year was basically flat. So if you recall, we fund this pension plan on a level percentage of payroll approach. So this creates what's often called the pension ramp. And so if everything went according to plan, we expected the contribution requirement to go up by about $55,000 this year. you'll see it went up only by about $17,000. So the experience was much better than what we were what we were expecting. And this was driven almost entirely by the investment return. So for the period for the 1 year period that ended on April 30th of 2021, the plan earned just over 25%. So that's significantly higher than our 7% assumption. However, if you recall from prior years, what you take the good with the bad, we do smooth the investment returns over a 5-year period. So while we earned 25%, which means that we had, we earned 18% higher than what we were expecting, we only recognized 20% of that gain in the numbers this year. And we will get, over the next 4 years, we will recognize the rest of those gains. Hopefully the market will continue to be strong, but as a result of that smoothing, only 20% of that good news was recognized this year. So on page 8, our unfunded liability did go up by a little bit. Went from 22.4 to 22.7 million, but our funded ratio did go up from 57.6 up to 59.2. Again, this reflects the smoothing. At the back of the report, we have what's the GASB information. This is the information that goes into the financial statements of the city, and those are based on different rules and methodology set forth by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. In those numbers, we are not allowed to have any smoothing. And so when we do those calculations, we get to recognize the entire gain immediately. In the GASB section, so what would appear in your financial statements, the funded ratio is actually reported as 65%, just over 65%, rather than the 59%. And again, that's just because here, when we calculate the contribution based on the Illinois Pension Code, we're smoothing the investment gains. On GASB, we get to recognize the entire gain, and so our funded ratio on the GASB basis is much higher this year. Since there is no smoothing, that GASB funded ratio is going to be a lot more volatile from year to year, depending on what happens in the market. So it could be, it's 6% higher than we're showing here this year. If you have a bad year, it could be 6% less than what we're showing here. So again, that number is going to be more volatile. And you may ask, okay, what's the appropriate number? Well, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. If you're talking about the cash that's going into the pension plan, the 59% number is the correct number. If you're talking to your auditor about your financial statements, then that 65% number is correct. Like I said, it's just based on different rules that are used for different purposes. Flipping ahead a number of pages just to show you a little bit more about the smoothing. On page 26, you'll see there's a table in the middle of the page. In 2021, you'll see that there's a $5.3 million gain there. That means we earned $5.3 million more than what we were expecting. And that's really that difference between the 25.25% return and the 7% that we were assuming. We recognized 25% of that gain. We still have $4.2 million of unrecognized gains that are going to help us. If we look at the 3 prior years, the first couple of years there were small gains, and in 2020, right when the pandemic hit, we did have about a $1.7 million loss. But we recognized portions of those, and in total we have about $3.2 million of unrecognized investment gains that are going to help us in those next 4 years. So that's it will provide us with some tailwinds going into next year. Even if we don't quite get our 7%, as we recognize these investment gains, it will help increase our smooth return. This year our smooth return was 9.1%. We had a small loss last year, so any sort of positive return, and we're going to exceed our 7% again. So like I said, that will provide some tailwinds that will help lower your contribution requirement in the future and increase your funded ratio. So I've gone through quite a bit here, but I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have.
Any questions for Jason?
So Jason, this year we approved and again, you threw a lot of numbers out. My apologies if I missed this. I know we approved $2,097,000 for the police pension. What are you recommending for next year?
The
actual number?
Yeah, the actual number was back on page 5. It was $2,114,355,000.
You did mention
$355.
So it's not that much of a difference.
About a $17,000 increase.
Great. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate it. I want people at home to hear that. Thanks.
Anyone else have a question for Jason? Michael, is there anything you want to add, or?
No, not at this point.
Jason, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.
I had a couple items that I forgot to report under communications. I received a beautiful letter from Mayor Cunningham from the Village of Woodridge. She writes, "Dear Mayor Marquez, on behalf of our entire grateful community, our Woodridge Village Board, the Village of Woodridge, and myself, we want to thank all of you for your tremendous outpouring of help, kindness, and sacrifice that was shown to us on that fateful day of June 20th, 2021, when our community was hit by an EF3 tornado, along with Naperville and Darien. Without any hesitation, your organization reached out to help us, whether it was by sending employees or lending heavy machinery, providing donations, or sending us a caring note of support. All of this means so much to our community, and there are truly not enough words to fully express our thanks. We cannot begin to tell you how much we appreciate all of you and wanted to thank you for coming to our aid when we needed it the most. Please accept this letter of gratitude and thanks from all of us, our entire grateful community. Your kindness will be felt for generations to come for the Woodridge community," and that's signed by Mayor Gina Cunningham, Mayor of Woodridge. And then she also sent a personal card to me that I received. And as you know, our Lions Club collected 2 truckloads full of goods, plus $6,000 that we made available, as well as our Public Works guys were over there helping out in Woodridge, as well as Bruce Lake. So I want to thank Mayor Cunningham for this lovely letter that she wrote thanking us. It's nice to see that they're doing better in Woodridge.
Before I go on to your next one, it's fitting. I just received the message that they're going to have a fundraiser at Shanahan's on
September
August 28th from 6 o'clock until 10. All proceeds going to the families of the tornadoes.
Right. I know this last weekend we had our Darien Fest. I know a lot of people had questions with regard to it. April Patlick, our CEO of the Chamber, writes, "Greetings, Mayor Marquez, City Administrator Brian Vanna, and Council Board members. On behalf of the Darien Chamber of Commerce, I wish to report the 33rd Annual Darien Fest held at the Darien Plaza Shopping Center, 8109 South Cass, Thursday, August 12th, and ending on Sunday, August 15th, was a huge success. It would be safe to say a few thousand people passed through the event during that time, most being families with small children. Many longtime Darien Fest goers stopped by the Chamber tent and commented about the venue change, but then would follow up with a compliment on the layout and the carnival. Many who have worked this event as a vendor or volunteer also liked that it didn't involve a lot of walking, as everything was in close proximity. As to those business and homeowners along the west side of Cass who appeared before the council expressing concerns, as far as I know, none of that occurred. I personally monitored the west side of Cass Avenue several times during the fest and did not observe anything out of the ordinary. At the close of the fest on Sunday night, I removed the no parking signs that the Chamber had posted along Cass, and again observed nothing out of the ordinary. Another plus to this year's fest was that it brought more exposure, food traffic, and customers to the area businesses such as Sylvia's Bakery, El Chile, Darien Liquors, Uncle Mao's, Exotic Pet World, Rosati's Pizza, and of course Q Bar. Please note that both Rosati's Pizza and El Chile had a constant flow of diners, and El Chile opened on Sunday when they were normally closed. In closing, this event could not have been pulled off without the assistance of many. I wish to personally thank the following: the City of Darien, the Darien Police Department, the Darien Women's Club, the Cancer Smashers, Bob Taft and his staff at Q Bar, and the Darien Chamber of Commerce. and the board of directors. And then in addition to that, we did receive an email from the woman who owned the veterinary clinic across the street. And just to summarize what she said, despite her dire predictions, she said she was congratulating April and the chamber for a successfully run event. Nobody came across the street or caused any of the issues that they felt might occur. And she says, congratulations on running a successful event. And then the third document I wanted to read was Chief Thomas's report on the event. This is a report from the police who monitored the situation. Over the weekend, overall, the weekend was successful. The amount of manpower for the police department was sufficient for the event. We had no issues with people parking where they were not supposed to park, i.e. the residential neighborhoods. There was a resident on Park Crest who complained about the noise each day, to have it documented. In addition to Park Crest, we received complaints from 4 other locations. Per Sergeant Squares, the noise to the north, east, and south of the fest was barely audible. From behind the buildings, areas to the west, the noise was audible, as that was the direction the stage was facing. So all in all, it appears that it had been it was well received. If you were over there, I had people who commented to me what they felt was especially nice was that all the food and drink activities took place within the corral area. And when you were out there by the rides with your children, you weren't walking among people who were carrying a beer or carrying a drink, because all that was going on within the corral. And people liked that. You actually separated that activity from what was going in the corral area. So congratulations to the Chamber of Commerce, to our police, to all the groups that were mentioned for what appears to have been a very successful Darien Fest. And now I'll turn it over to our new mayor, and we're right here. Yes, clerk, we're gonna. You ask her, does she have anything to report?
Do you have anything to report?
I have 2 items. The Darien City offices will be closed on Monday, September the 6th, in observance of Labor Day. And our next city council meeting will be held on Tuesday, September 7th. Thank you.
I know, you ask Mr. Vanna.
Do you have anything to report?
Thank you, Mayor. Just one item under the city administrator's report. It's the garbage services renewal discussion. The council has briefly talked about this over the last several meetings, including tonight, as we're preparing our bid specs for the renewal of our garbage contract, which is actually in 2022, but we're getting going now. Last meeting, when this was discussed, the council did ask that the RFP include carts, a full cart program, and also the current program we have, which is a sticker program. So that is, both of those are in there. When we get proposals back, we might see some differences in the proposals. We encourage contractors to propose maybe different things outside of the proposal that they might think that they think may help the city or improve the program. So again, that's here tonight for information, and we'll start that process really tomorrow.
Thank you, Brian. Department head information and questions. I believe Chief Thomas has a report for us tonight.
Yep. I think it was June of 2019 that a number of the communities went together and purchased Hexagon, a new software company to track calls for service, crime, and the like. And it's been a little bit difficult trying to get the data out of there. So I've been successful the last couple of months. So put together a monthly report that you're probably were used to seeing but haven't seen in quite some time. So just a couple things right off. Going back to school, so be safe around the schools. 2 big things. One is drinking and after-school parties, weekend parties. The 2020 Illinois Youth Survey indicated that 44% of DuPage County seniors report alcohol use, and they get that from their parents with the parents' permission. Not a good idea. And then an additional 29% of seniors report getting alcohol from a friend's parent with the friend's parents' permission. So a lot of drinking going on with either turning a blind eye or allowing it to happen by a parent. So not a good thing to do. Please don't. Bus stops, a lot of people seem to have to relearn bus etiquette at the beginning of the year. When those lights are activated and the stop arm is out, it is illegal to pass the school bus from either direction, even if you're on private property. So give proper clearance to school buses and let's keep the kids safe. Last June, obviously we heard about the tornado. We talked about that a little bit again. And then on August 9th, the tornado sirens were sounded, and people were inquiring why, when there was clear skies, that they would have a tornado warning sirens. And what happens is DuPage is fairly a rectangle, and when the warning came in from weather, it was, I don't know, rhombus shape, polygon, some type. And it's going somewhat through the middle of the county. So on a, to make sure that people were safe, they sounded an alarm for the entire county. So sometimes if the storm is to the south, Will County, then just the southern portion of DuPage will get the siren, but it's, the siren will activate. A couple other things that people don't realize: the siren is for outdoor people. It's not expected to be heard on inside. So if you prefer to have good, safe messages, the television, your cell phone, weather radio, much better device than expecting to hear a siren inside the house or the din of the storm. So make sure you have that on. Also, some people reported hearing 2 sirens, thinking the second siren is an all clear. There is no all clear siren. So that second siren is because there's either a second cell or a second storm or some other event that caused that siren to be sounded again. So just be safe during the during storms. We put out a crime alert. The thieves are getting a little bit more sophisticated and have some software and hardware to get into vehicles, and specifically Dodge Charger, Challengers, Durangos, and Jeep Cherokees. And they're able to bypass the electrical system and start the car and steal the car. It's happened about 7 times so far this year. So our recommendation, because it's a little bit more sophisticated, a lot of cars are stolen because keys are left in it and they're left unlocked, and we have the whole mantra about locking up your stuff, and that's not going to work in this situation. So those vehicles, the Dodges and the Jeeps, probably need to be in your garage and secured there. And then a number of other items that we typically see. Alderman Vaughn, you talked about issues along Clarendon Hills Road. On the bottom of page 2, or about the middle of page 2, onto the next page, we talk about citizen complaints. We've been logging those in a software we call Frontline. And so at the last item on page 2 is the results of enforcement actions along Clarendon Hills Road between 67th and Plainfield Road. And that goes for all the aldermen. When you advise us, or somebody in your ward advises us of a problem, we put that in Frontline, and that's an easy place for you to find what we've been doing on at those locations to get back with your constituents, or the constituents themselves can look at the monthly report online. Besides the stolen cars, some good news in the crime report on page 5 talks about crime being down fairly well, 31% from last year, 35% 5-year change, and more than half over a 10-year process. And then the next page gives a little graph. to that effect. Accidents too have had some success. Last year, COVID year, had a lot less accidents, especially at the beginning of the year, March, April, June, because a lot less people were driving. It was a lot easier to get into work here because of the less traffic. But overall, when you look at the years prior, taking away the COVID year of 2020, we're having some good success in reducing accidents about 24% or 22%. And then the last pages, 2 pages, you'll see how officers are performing and really stepped up the game on enforcement. DUI arrests are up about 90%. So good things going on, and appreciate your time. If you have any questions, I'll take care of what I can.
Alderman Kenny?
Hey, Chief, I'm looking at your citizens complaint chart at the bottom of page 2. You alluded to, and most of the numbers there are pretty obvious. 12 observations, citations hours. What's the minutes detailing?
That's how long they stood there. So you had 12 observations, 337 minutes that they physically were parked there, either running radar, observing stop sign, whatever the complaint was, something to do with that complaint.
Okay.
Anyone else?
I see there was 6 hit and runs. Have we found any of the...
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
A lot of times hit and runs, jump over there. Ones in the parking lot are usually difficult because it's either backing in or backing out or whatever they're doing. So those are a little bit difficult. Some of those that are on the roadway are a little bit easier to solve. A lot of times people are getting a license plate number and those type of things because it's somebody is there and saw it occurred. But I'd have to look that number up for you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Thomas? Mr. Combeck, any report?
No report. More than happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Combeck? Dan will be giving, was it October, Dan? We usually give a rundown of our progress on all of our summer projects.
Correct.
And I think we said that we would wait until maybe the end of October to do that.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Treasurer's report. Yeah. Mr. Corrin.
Mr. Corrin, give your report.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, this evening, I'm requesting council's approval of warrant number 21-2208 in the amount of $827,740.45 from the listed funds. Payroll for the period ended August the 12th of $262,718.13. The total be approved of $1,090,458.58.
Can I have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report?
Over there. Alderman Belzak
Alderman Belzak
and Alderwoman Sullivan.
and Alderwoman Sullivan.
Any questions?
Are there any questions? Can I have the roll?
Belzak,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Shower,
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Yeah.
Also, Mr. Mayor, I've got the summary for the second quarter police pension report performance. Now it's the second calendar quarter, which includes April, May, and June, with some overlap because April is the end of our fiscal year, so the April's already been considered in the report previously spoken of by Mr. Franken. But the quarter was very good performance-wise with a 5.1% total return for that for the quarter, made up of 7.7% from equities and 1.4% 4% for the fixed income portion. So I'm fairly confident that May and June are at least positive going into the start of the current fiscal year. And the other thing that I believe is very positive, the board was able to nudge up the equity investment from 60% to 65%, which is the maximum allowed by the state. So hopefully if equities keep performing, it'll make it a little bit easier to make our 7% bogey. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mike.
Do any of the chairmen have reports for the council?
Kenny?
Alderman Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The police committee meeting that was supposed to be held for this evening was canceled due to lack of agenda items. Our next police committee meeting will be held on Monday, September 20th at 6 p.m. across the parking lot in the police training room, pending agenda items.
Alderwoman Sullivan.
Thank you. The Economic Development Committee will be meeting on Thursday, September 2nd, Thursday, September 2nd at 7 p.m. in council chambers. And the next Administrative Finance Committee meeting will be on Tuesday, September 7th at 6 p.m. prior to City Council in the upstairs conference room.
Thank you. Alderman Belzak.
Alderman Belzak.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next municipal services meeting is scheduled for next Monday, August the 23rd at 7 p.m. in council chambers.
Okay.
Does anyone in the audience have anything they would like to share with the council that is on the agenda?
Okay. That takes us to old business. There being none, it takes us to our consent agenda. There's 2 items under the consent agenda. Consideration of a motion granting waiver of the raffle license bond requirement for Darien District 61. And consideration of a motion to approve a resolution accepting a proposal from Eco Clean Maintenance to provide janitorial services for the city of Darien beginning September 1st, 2021. Do I have a motion and a second? Alderman Kennedy, second by Alderman Vaughn. And the roll.
Kenny,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
Belzak,
Aye.
Shower,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
The consent agenda has been approved. Under new business, we have 1 item. Consideration of a motion to approve an ordinance granting a minor amendment to an approved planet unit development, 8511 Bailey Road, known as the Society of Mount Carmel, Society of the Little Flower, National Shrine to St. Teresa. Motion to approve. Alderman Shower, second by Alderman Belzak. Any questions or comments? Alderwoman Sullivan.
Thank you, Mayor. So I did get a call from a resident, and I also had been looking at it myself because I guess I was surprised I hadn't seen it come through planning and zoning. So I'm going to probably ask Jordan to explain why it's classified as a minor amendment versus major. But years and years ago, when I worked with Darien Neighbors Magazine, I had done a story about the history of Darien and a lot of the original buildings. And at that time, I was under the impression that they were pursuing the Society of the Little Flower and the Carmelites National Historic status on, we'll call it the White House. Obviously, that must not have happened if they're looking to make, modifications to the building. So I guess I'm just wondering why they're not better utilizing the space over at the old Carefree Village instead of changing the, stature and the look of such a, traditional building and historical, in my mind, to our community.
As far as the aesthetics go, we really don't have any opportunity to tell them what they can or cannot do with the property. So in regards to the minor or major amendment, Jordan, if you want to.
Right, so in the ordinance, a major amendment typically includes increases to density, increases to building height, changes of uses. This is actually not changing the use, it's just expanding, so we determined that it's a minor.
The city attorney agreed with that as well.
Correct. And for the other question, I may have to defer. I don't know if one of the applicant's representatives is here. He may be able to speak better to that.
Hello, my name is Mark Noski. I'm with Charles Vincent George Architects, and I think the answer, or at least the question about the look of the building and how the nature of the White House, we are specifically took great pains to kind of walk the building and measure it, and there are significant wood damage to the exterior of that building, and what we're interested in is kind of repairing that the look of the building as it is, and that not to change it in any way. Certainly there is an addition, and I've got a small walkway attachment to the existing building, but I kept the scale of the new addition in size to 1 story so that it wouldn't interfere with the height of the existing building. And then I've also kind of created kind of a recess next to the existing building so that it really stands apart from the addition. We are using similar nature of siding and redoing the shutters and making them real shutters instead of the fake ones that are on there today. And so, keeping mindful of the type of siding that's on the building and the trim work, and that we're not replacing really the gutters or shingles roof. It's really just kind of taking a real look at the siding of the building and insulating the wall. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it's our intent not to really change the look of the existing building, but to try to reinforce what's really there and kind of come back with fixing a lot of the wood problems that exist on the building today.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions? If none, the roll.
Shower,
Aye.
Belzak,
Aye.
Kenny,
Aye.
Sullivan,
Aye.
Vaughn,
Aye.
5 ayes and 2 absent.
Right here. You ask if any of the council members have.
Do any of the council members have anything to say?
Any announcements or of a general nature? Okay.
Does anyone in the audience have anything they would like to share with the council? Can I have a motion and a second to adjourn? Alderman Kenny. Alderman Shower.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye. Good job.
Nice job, Mr. Mayor.
So, Joanne and Sam, I missed the swearing in part. Can you guys pretend you're doing it again so I can get a picture?
Yeah, we're gonna take a picture.
Yeah, but I want, like when you swear, being sworn in.
Because when he was